Hello, my name is Lena, and this is my week 2 multimedia project on ethics. So, a quick overview, I'm going to discuss this week's theories that we learned, how they apply to the job of a police officer, and how virtue applies to that job as well. Okay, starting off with natural law theory by Aquinas. If you are a religious believer, I believe you can quickly be able to connect to this theory. It was Aquinas' belief that God pre-wired um, all of us as living things with a desire and ability to seek what is good for us. So you can see here I listed the 7 goods that Aquinas determined is what we will seek as humans. And he felt that everyone was pre-wired with this natural instinct. Even individuals who didn't know God, they still wanted to live, have children, seek God, things of that nature. Next, looking at Immanuel Kant, categorical imperatives. Kant felt that religion and morality was separate, and people use a sense of reason derived from their intellect to make these, moral and ethical decisions. He felt strongly about helping others and that this was the right thing to do, and that, people shouldn't use others as a means to an end. He also warns us about universal principles, explaining that if you perform an unethical act like stealing, you're basically saying that it's okay for everybody to steal all of the time. Okay, so Jeremy Bentham and John Stuart Mill, they have the theory of utilitarianism. I'm probably not saying that right. Utilitarianism. Basically, this theory focuses on happiness. Bentham and Mill taught that people will seek pleasure and avoid pain, and their actions are based on consequences. So, for example, we go to work. We go to work because we can get a check. We use the check to pay for our house, and having a place to live makes us happy. So, all of the actions, boil down to consequences of happiness. But more so, they say that opposed to just our own happiness, they feel that ethically we are to do things for the happiness of the greater good, which is called other regarding. Also, sometimes you may have to sacrifice your own pleasure and happiness for the happiness or pleasure of others. And another thing that they have about this theory is that they are very equal view on individuals in society. So, for example, I'm not better than you, you're not better than me, everyone's equal. Okay, Thomas Hobbes. So, contractarianism. With this theory, Hobbes felt that morality basically just appeared out of rational people, and that there's this, spoken or unspoken contract between people that just kind of formulates, and this happens because people need this sense of comfort and security, amongst themselves. And Hobbes feels that people are willing to give up some of their, natural freedoms to maintain this security. So, for example, citizens of the United States, we follow laws, we give up some of our natural freedoms so that we have the security of an organized government and the protection, of the public police. So, how the 4 theories apply to a public administrative position, I chose a police officer. And in my younger days, I started training to become a police officer. So, while I've never worked in this profession myself, I still felt like it was a good example that kind of encompassed all of these theories in some fashion. During the day-to-day, an officer might not need all of the 7 goods that are described in the natural law theory, but they would need to lean on a few of them, like social life, shunning ignorance, and especially, avoiding offense whenever possible. Referring over to parts of Kant's categorical imperatives, officers do focus strongly on helping others because it's the right thing to do. Looking at utilitarianism, officers are concerned with the greatest good for the greatest number of people, constantly, putting everyone else's happiness before their own and safety before their own. And lastly, looking at contractarianism, officers enter into a social contract written by the oath that they take when they become an officer, and unwritten expectations that are put on officers by the public, how they should behave, how they should respond, things like that. So virtue, because of the example I chose of police officers, they do need to be able to have virtue. They have to be able to be courageous. They have to know when to do the right thing, how to do the right thing at the right time. They need to know how to be graceful, respectful, deliver hard truths, how to be gentle, when to be gentle. All these virtuous skills, they learn them from their senior officers. And so they watch them, emulate them, and eventually it just gets ingrained in them, and then it becomes effortless. And then they become the trainers for the incoming officers, in the future. And that is my multimedia presentation. So thank you and have a great weekend.